So I'm starting to think I might have just made a little mistake. And no, for the eagle-eyed viewers out there, it is not fitting the auto vent here next to the potting bench. So when I stand here and the auto vent fully opens, it's right in my face, right here. Although that is a mistake, that's not the one we're here to talk about today. It's all about tomatoes, because it's getting towards that time of year where I'm thinking about putting the tomato plants out. And I'm a bit worried. I'm a little bit worried I've messed up, but I'll come to that in a minute. So, we've been through a bit of a heat wave. For the last 3 days, I've been down in London, a bit of a work trip. It was baking hot down there. Record temperature on Thursday, 29 degrees. It was sweltering. But back here in Scotland, it's not quite been that warm. And over the next few days, we've actually got some really low temperatures. So overnight, we're down to sort of 2 or 3 degrees. So at the moment, things like the peppers, the chilies, the sweet peppers over here, we're doing the plant hokey cokey. They're coming out during the day, they're going in at night. They're coming out during the day, they're going in at night. And it's just a bit of a pain. And this time of year just starts to get on my nerves a little bit, because some of the plants, as you might be able to see, we've got a squash growing here. It's a little bit out of sight and it's getting far too big for the greenhouse. And it's a bit of a theme running through the greenhouse at the moment. Let me show you this. This rose crushed tomato plant that you can see there, and it's massive and it's starting to flower. And there's another one back here. There's a Heinz one that I'll just show you in a minute there. And they need to go out. They are desperate to go out. I dread to think what the roots look like in those pots. It's probably starting to get root bound, but the temperature is against me a little bit. And if you'd seen my video, sort of, if I take you back, let's go back in time to the 1st of April, where this year I had the amazing plan to start all my things a little bit later this year. So it's all been done on purpose. So all the way through this sort of growing season, I've started doing things a little bit later to try and prevent problems with space management and things inside, because everybody always says everything catches up eventually. But look, we've only got 3 of the tiniest little seeds, and I am so keen to do a good job of doing Tim's Taste of Paradise. And here we are now, Saturday, the 3rd of May, when I'm filming this video, and I'm a bit worried. I'm a bit worried. Why am I a bit worried? Some of my tomato plants, the ones that you saw me sowing there, the ones back here that we'll come to in a moment and chat about again, a little bit of an exception to the rule, but the ones you saw me sowing are on my own. All ones that seeds I've bought from the shop, or seeds that people have sent me, and lessons have been learned in doing it this way this year. Let me just show you something, if I can find it. So this is a Paul Robertson tomato plant. Here it is. And it looks okay. It doesn't look, it's healthy. It's a healthy plant. What it isn't is as big as I would like it to be. Now, it's been inside. It's not been outside. It's been inside, been under the grow lights, nice and warm, perfect conditions, absolutely marvellous. And they germinated pretty quickly. Mel very kindly sent me the seeds for the Paul Robertsons. Germinated, lovely. Brought them on, potted them on, under the grow lights, yada yada, looking lovely. But I guess the question is, the thing I'm a bit worried about, the thing I think I've messed up on, I think I might be too late. And some of you might be saying, don't be daft, things always catch up. Everything always catches up. Beautiful sunshine, they'll sharp catch up. But remember, here in Scotland, we have a much shorter growing season than a lot of other parts of the UK, especially down south. When I'm chatting to the likes of JB and Jesse, who are right down south, sort of London area, or right down on the south coast, the temperatures are really quite different. The amount of light they get, the amount of heat they get is a lot different to what we get up here in Scotland. It's only sort of 400-ish miles apart, but those 400 miles-ish makes a big difference. Now, let me show you where I would like to be with all my tomato plants, and we'll get the aforementioned Heinz tomato plant. Let me just bring it over here. This is pretty much perfect for this time of year. This is exactly where I would like all my tomato plants to be. Now, when I had a little bit of an issue a few weeks ago with my chilies and my peppers, and I potted them on and they all died and they failed terribly, some really, really nice people came to my rescue. So Sam sent me a beautiful Joe's chili, and Mick came along with the biggest box of plants I have ever seen. And Mick's plants were top notch. They are beautiful. Sam's, by the way, Sam's Joe's chili, top notch as well. Let's not forget that. Mick had this giant box of plants that he's given me. And this was one of them. The rose crush one from before, the big tall one. Let me just move it in shot there, hopefully, so you can see it as well back here. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. This is perfect. This is the size. Look, you can see how big it is. Head for sort of comparison. Size of the plant. So you can get an idea of how big it is. This is how I'd like it to look at this time of year. Because I reckon, looking back over the past couple of years, I'll probably plant these out in about a week's time. Maybe it's 2 weeks. Depends on those overnight temperatures. How they're looking. Like I say, they look a bit dodgy. But let's bring back into shot the Paul Robeson. And it's not the variety, it's not the seed, it's nothing else. It's just I'm a bit later in sowing them. And look at the difference. I would say the Heinz is at least 2.5 times the size of the Paul Robeson. Is that really going to catch up that much throughout the growing season? Remember, it's a short season here in Scotland, which is why I set out traditionally in the past few years, why I've set everything off so early. Chilies normally get done at the start of January. Tomatoes, March sort of time. And I waited till the 1st of April. And apparently, maybe it's an April Fool's thing. Maybe I'm the fool for starting them on the 1st of April. And I've been watching Tony recently. Now I know Tony goes a bit gung-ho. He's gone a bit rogue. He's put his tomatoes out nice and early. Off they've gone into his polytunnel. And Tony's probably the closest one to me in terms of allotments and things in YouTube and whatnot. So he's just a bit further down south. You know, he's just over 100 miles away. So temperature-wise, not massively different. But he started his tomatoes probably 2 weeks before me. And that's around about when I would normally have done them. And I'm starting to think, the more I talk about it just now, the more I think about it, the more I stand here and look at the Heinz tomato and the Paul Robeson, and let me make the comparison even bigger, right? Because we'll get the Rose Crush again, head for sort of comparison size to the plant. I don't even know if I can get all of the Rose Crush in shot alongside the Paul Robeson. In fact, I can't. You see, I have to come all the way down to show you them, and they're starting to flower, which, you know, it's just about right for it going out. And this is miles away from flowering. It is so far away. So, have I made a mistake? Have I not? I'm a little bit worried I am. On the other hand, I'm okay with it because we've got mixed plants. They're a lot more mature. They've already got the flowers just starting to come on them. Sort of perfect sort of time within next week. Looking to put them out in the quad grows, in the polytunnel. How are these going to look in a week's time, 2 weeks' time, when I want to be getting them out? They're going to be nowhere near that. And I'm really, really worried that they're not going to catch up. At the moment, I think this year has been really quite mild. Like I say, we've had some record temperatures. Is it going to continue? How we're going to be looking at, are we going to be having the same conversation in September and October when I'm sort of doing that kind of bulk final harvesting of the tomatoes? Because if they're there, if they're not ripe, if they've not had enough time in the sunshine and they're not ripened, it's going to be a bit of a waste, isn't it? So we will have to wait and see. I guess if you want to follow along, please think about liking, subscribing, see if it works out. It might not work out, it might work out, but at the moment I'm just a little bit anxious that I've made a terrible mistake. But lesson learned. My lessons have been learned. You know, you learn stuff every year, and I'm not one to fret over things too much. I will get a bit anxious, a bit worried. Are they going to grow? Are they not? Are they going to fruit in time? Are they going to ripen? Are they not? I'm not going to get too catastrophic about it. You know what I mean? If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't happen, it's a bit disappointing. it's not the end of the world. Worse things in the world happen than my tomatoes not being ready. But lesson learned, next year, and please, this video is going to be here to remind me that next year, I think we're going to sow our tomatoes middle of March. Date in the diary, 14th, 15th of March. Maybe it depends when the weekend is or when I've got time. 14th, 15th of March, that is going to be the key date for the tomatoes next year here in Scotland. Anyway, that is me done for today. Let me just finish off here with another side-by-side shot of the Paul Robertson and the Heinz tomato going forward over the next week. Anyway, that's me done. Thank you very much for watching, folks, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.